All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're exploring a unique father-son competition.
Definitely unique.
Yeah, it's not your typical backyard barbecue rivalry, no horseshoes or anything like that. This is about destruction. Well, controlled destruction, I guess you could say.
Yeah, controlled destruction for prizes. We've got a whole stack of videos documenting this wild competition.
Oh, yeah, I've seen some of this
Yeah.
footage. Basically, each round features a valuable prize encased in ice. And,
And they got to break through the ice to claim it. Whoever gets to the prize first wins the round.
yeah.
But the catch is they're given random tools for each challenge.
And some of these tools are, well, let's just say they're not exactly made for ice breaking.
Right, we're talking screwdrivers, ukuleles, even baseballs. Definitely makes things interesting to watch.
For sure. And it's not just about brute force either.
Mm.
There's a lot of strategy involved figuring out how to use these unusual tools effectively.
Absolutely. You got to think outside the box, adapt to the situation, kind of like life, Sometimes you just got to make do with what you've got.
100%. All right, so let's jump into round one. The prize is a Nintendo Switch, frozen solid in a block of ice,
Oh, nice. I could use a new Switch.
right? And the father gets a screwdriver for this round, while the son gets an ice pick. So you'd think the ice pick would have a clear advantage, right?
It seems like it. I mean, it's kind of in the name, right? Ice pick.
Exactly. But here's the thing. They can't damage the prize.
Yeah, that makes things trickier. Gotta be precise.
And that's where things get interesting. The father, instead of just hacking away at the ice, he starts carefully carving around the edges of the switch with his screwdriver.
Smart. Almost like he's sculpting it out of the ice.
Exactly. It was amazing to watch. And it actually worked. He ended up removing more than double the amount of ice the son did.
No kidding. So the screwdriver won out over the ice pick in round one. That's got to be a blow to the son's ego.
Oh, for sure. And to add insult to injury, the father gets to keep the switch since he won.
Ouch. Yeah, I bet that stings a little.
Definitely ups the ante for the rest of the competition. Speaking of which, in round two, things take a rather musical turn. The prize is an iPhone, and the father is given, wait for it, a ukulele.
A ukulele? What? Seriously?
Yeah, no. When I first saw it, I thought there's no way he's going to be able to do anything with that.
Right. Like, what's he going to do? Serenade the ice into submission?
Yeah, pretty much. But, this is where the father's ingenuity shines. Instead of trying to smash the ice, he uses the tuning pegs on the ukulele to chip away at it.
Wow, using those little tuning pegs. That's going to take some serious precision.
It does. And, it actually worked. He managed to chip away enough ice to free the iPhone.
No way. So the ukulele pulls off an upset. Who would have thought?
Right. It just goes to show that sometimes the most unlikely tools can be surprisingly effective if you think outside the box.
I bet a lot of people watching this are probably looking around their own homes right now thinking, I wonder what I could use to break through ice.
I'm sure of it. All right, let's move on to round three. This time, the prize is a highly sought-after bear brick collectible figurine.
Ah, those things are super cool and super pricey too, I hear.
Oh, yeah. I've seen some of them go for thousands of dollars online. Anyway, for this round, the son is given a wrench. Seems like a good choice, right?
Solid choice. You'd think a wrench would be perfect for smashing ice.
Right. But the father, well, he gets a baseball.
A baseball. Seriously, what's he going to do? Play a game of ice baseball?
I honestly have no idea what the thought process was there. But as the son's working on the ice with his wrench, he starts getting visibly frustrated. He's putting in a lot of effort, and he's worried about damaging the bear brick inside.
Yeah, I can imagine. Too much force and you could shatter that collectible.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the father decides to take a completely different approach.
Let me guess, he starts practicing his swing.
He does. He grabs the baseball and heads outside to play some sports. It's like he's completely given up on the challenge.
And while he's out there having fun, the son's sweating it out trying to free that bear brick.
Exactly. And you know what happens? When the father comes back inside, the ice has melted just enough for him to pop the bear brick out with his bare hands.
Get out of here. So he wins by doing absolutely nothing.
Pretty much. It was the most unexpected win I've ever seen. Talk about his strategic power move, right?
Absolutely. He played the long game, and it paid off big time.
Now, that win put the father back in the lead, with the score at 2-1. And the pressure was definitely on as we moved into round four. This time, the prize was a pair of off-white Chicago sneakers, valued at around $5,000.
$5,000 for a pair of sneakers. Wow, that's a lot of dough for some fancy footwear.
Oh, yeah. These are seriously coveted sneakers. And to make things even more interesting, they added a twist to this round.
A twist. I love twists. What did they do?
Before they could start working on the ice, they had to complete a mini challenge to determine who would get a 1-minute time advantage in the main challenge.
So it's not just about brute force anymore. They got to be quick on their feet, too.
Exactly. The mini challenge was to thaw out a pair of socks that were frozen solid in blocks of ice. First one to get their socks on gets the time advantage.
So it's a test of problem-solving skills as well as speed.
Exactly. The son immediately starts chipping away at the ice around his socks, but the father, he does something completely different. He takes his block of ice to the sink and runs it under hot water.
So simple, yet so brilliant.
And effective. He wins the mini challenge and secures that precious 1-minute time advantage.
All right, so we've got a time advantage. Now for the main event. The sneakers are encased in ice. What tools are they working with?
The son gets a crowbar, and the father gets a pair of bolt cutters. Both are pretty powerful tools, but they have different strengths.
A crowbar for leverage, bolt cutters for precision. This is going to be a close one.
It was. The son goes right to work with his crowbar, attacking the ice with full force. But the father, he just hangs back, kind of watching, waiting for his time advantage to kick in.
Smart move. Got to conserve energy and use that advantage wisely.
And that's exactly what he does. As soon as that minute hits, he goes to town with those bolt cutters.
What's his strategy? Is he just going crazy, or is there a method to his madness?
Oh, there's definitely a method. He's using those bolt cutters strategically, snipping away chunks of ice, creating these precise cuts to weaken the whole block.
Like a surgeon, but with ice and bolt cutters.
Exactly. And it was so effective.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the son is still hammering away with his crowbar, but he's starting to look flustered. The pressure is getting to him.
You can just imagine him thinking, Dad's going to win again, isn't he?
Probably.
Yeah.
And in the end, the father's patience and strategy paid off. He manages to free the sneakers first, winning the round.
Wow, another win for the father. This guy's on a roll.
He is. So going into the final round, the score is tied 2-2, and the tension is palpable. The final prize is a PlayStation 5.
Ooh, the PS5, that's the big one. I bet they're both hungry for this win.
Oh, absolutely. But before they could go head-to-head for the ultimate prize, there was one last mini challenge standing in their way.
Oh no, not another one. What crazy task do they have to conquer this time?
This one was ridiculous. They had to hold 2 ice cubes in their mouths for as long as possible. The first one to spit them out loses.
Ice cubes in their mouths. Seriously, this is getting absurd. But hey, I guess that's part of the fun, right?
Exactly. And you could tell they were both determined to win, even though it was such a silly challenge. But the cold got to the son first, and he ended up spitting out his ice cubes, giving the father the advantage for the final round.
Oh man, talk about a cold defeat. All right, final round. PS5 on the line. What tools did they choose for this epic showdown?
So for this final round, they got to choose their own tools. The son went with a chisel classic choice for ice carving.
Sensible. Good for precision work.
Right. But the father, he surprised us all by choosing a hammer.
A hammer. That seems a little risky, doesn't it? One wrong move and he could smash that PS5 to pieces.
Yeah, it was a bold move. But remember, in this round, there's a new win condition. They have to get the PS5 out of the ice undamaged. First one to do that wins.
So it's not just about speed, it's about precision, too. This is going to be a nail-biter.
It was. The son, with his chisel, was taking a more methodical approach, carefully chipping away at the ice around the PS5.
And the father, with his hammer and that 1-minute time advantage, what was his strategy?
He was all about speed and power. He used that hammer with surprising skill, quickly breaking through the ice to free the PS5.
And did he win?
He did. It was a swift and decisive victory for the father. He took home the PS5, proving that sometimes a little bit of brute force, combined with strategic patience and a lucky break or two, can lead to success.
That's incredible. But what about the son? What happened to the loser of this epic ice-breaking battle?
Well, let's just say he had to pay the price for his loss with the snow cone, doused in the world's hottest hot sauce.
Oh man, that's rough. Spicy punishment for an ice-cold defeat.
It was pretty brutal, but also hilarious to watch.
You know, in the end, it's great that they could keep things lighthearted and fun. After all, it's just a friendly competition, right?
Exactly. A friendly competition with some seriously high stakes, I'd say.
Definitely. But this whole father-son ice-breaking showdown has really been entertaining. And more than that, I think it's taught us a valuable lesson about problem solving. We've seen some amazing displays of ingenuity and adaptability.
Totally. It's got me thinking about all the ways we could apply this ice-breaking mindset to our everyday lives.
Right. Like, what seemingly useless objects in our homes could we repurpose into unexpected tools? The possibilities are endless.
Exactly. We'll dive into that more in the next part of our deep dive.
This whole ice-breaking battle, it's really about more than just, smashing ice.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's about creativity, thinking outside the box.
Exactly. It's like they're given these random tools and they have to figure out a way to make it work.
And they do. I mean, a ukulele, who would have thought?
Right. It shows that sometimes the best solutions come from the most unexpected places.
You know, it reminds me of that story about NASA trying to figure out how to write in space.
Oh, yeah, the space pen, right?
Exactly. They spent all this time and money developing a special pen that could write in zero gravity.
And the Soviets, what did they do?
They just used a pencil.
Classic. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one.
It's true. And I think another key to the father's success in this competition was his mindset.
Yeah, he always seems so calm, even when he was given a baseball to break ice.
Exactly. He never got flustered. He just kind of rolled with it.
Which is easier said than done, right? Especially when you're under pressure.
Oh, absolutely. But I think his playful approach actually helped him stay relaxed and open to different ideas.
Like when he took a break to play sports during the bear brick round.
Right. It's like he was giving his mind a chance to wander, to make connections that he might not have seen otherwise.
That's actually a really good point. Sometimes stepping away from a problem can help us see it more clearly.
Totally. It's like those aha moments you get in the shower or when you're out for a walk.
Your mind is relaxed and suddenly the solution just pops into your head.
And that's something we can all apply to our lives, right? When we're facing a challenge, sometimes the best thing to do is to step back, take a break, and come back to it with fresh eyes.
I completely agree. It's easy to get so caught up in the problem that we lose sight of the bigger picture.
But let's not forget, this whole competition is also hilarious to watch.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Those mini challenges were pure gold.
Ice cubes in their mouths. I mean, come on, that's just ridiculous.
But in a good way. It adds a layer of fun and lightheartedness to the whole thing.
Exactly. It's like they're saying, yeah, this is serious competition, but we're also going to have a good time.
And I think that's a really important message, Life's too short to take everything so seriously.
100%.
Yeah.
So as we move on to the last part of our deep dive, I want you to think about this.
Mm-hmm.
What tools do you have in your life that you might be overlooking?
What unconventional approaches could you be using to solve problems and achieve your goals?
Think outside the box. You might be surprised at what you discover. This whole father-son ice-breaking thing, it really gets you thinking.
Doesn't it? Makes you realize we probably all have a ukulele or a baseball lying around somewhere, just waiting to be turned into an ice-breaking tool.
Right. I mean, it's a bit of a silly example, but the underlying message is powerful.
Totally. It's about being resourceful,
Right.
Looking at things from a different angle.
Exactly. We get so stuck in our routines using the same old methods for everything.
It's like we're all standing there with our hammers and chisels when maybe we should be trying a hairdryer or a spatula.
That's a great analogy. So how can we apply this kind of thinking to our everyday lives?
Well, for starters, I think it's about being curious, asking what if more often.
What if I tried this instead of that? What if I approached this problem from a completely different direction?
Exactly. Challenge those assumptions and don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah, not every experiment is going to be a success, but we always learn something along the way.
Absolutely. It's like Edison said, I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work.
Classic Edison. So it's about embracing those so-called failures, seeing them as opportunities to learn and grow.
And don't underestimate the power of collaboration either. Sometimes bouncing ideas off of someone else can really spark those creative breakthroughs.
That's so true. Two heads are better than one, as they say. So, this deep dive into the world of competitive ice breaking, it's been more than just entertainment.
Oh yeah, it's been a reminder that there's always more than one way to crack a problem, whether it's a literal block of ice or a challenge in our lives.
Absolutely. And as we wrap things up, we want to leave you with this. What tools are you overlooking in your own life? What unconventional approaches could you be using to achieve your goals?
Think outside the box. Embrace those what-if moments. And who knows, you might just surprise yourself with what you discover.
And until next time, keep diving deep.